Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled to have you here today because we are diving into some profoundly deep Vedic source material. Specifically, we're unpacking a fascinating cosmological framework laid out in the Bhagavad Gita, texts 9.17 through 21. We're going to explore exactly how this ancient text breaks down the origin of the universe, the nature of divine energy, and honestly, the ultimate purpose of human existence.
Now, it all begins with this massive foundational question. What is the ultimate destination of existence? I mean, that's the big one, right? Philosophers, scientists, and seekers have literally debated this for millennia. But what's so fascinating is how our source text today promises to answer this directly. It offers a very specific roadmap of where we come from, what this physical world actually is, and where we are ultimately supposed to go.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. Today we'll be hitting the ultimate source, energy, immortality and death, the true purpose of the Vedas, the Ferris wheel of rebirth, and finally, reaching the ultimate goal. Let's get to it.
Starting with Section 1, the ultimate source, exploring texts 17 and 18.
These verses absolutely do not mince words. They define Krishna as the literal father, mother, grandsire, and creator of the whole cosmic manifestation. It's wild to think about, but every relationship we have here in the material world, it's just an interaction with parts and parcels of this ultimate source. Look at these vast, all-encompassing attributes. He's the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. He is both the creation and the annihilation, the eternal seed. Basically, everything rests on this divine energy. Without this shelter, literally nothing exists. So it's framing the Supreme not just as some abstract concept, but as a living force and our ultimate well-wisher.
Now, how do we actually interact with all this? Well, the philosophy introduces Omkara, or Pranava. You know, that transcendental sound vibration representing the Supreme that you find in all Vedic mantras? The really crucial takeaway here is that whatever we want to know through studying the Vedas, it's actually just a progressive step toward understanding this ultimate source. The knowledge itself, it isn't the final destination. It's just the vehicle to understand Krishna.
Moving right along to Section 2, energy, immortality, and death. We're going to deconstruct some major binaries here.
So how does this singular divine energy actually show up in our everyday physical world? The text uses a super grounded, simple analogy for this. Think about heat, light, the sun, and electricity. During the summer, it's this supreme energy holding back the rain, and then, boom, during the rainy season, it provides those unceasing torrents. So all these physical phenomena, the weather, the sunshine, they aren't just separate, random, natural events. They're literally just different energies of the Supreme at work in the material world. And you know, this extends right into our very lifespans. Just take a second to really absorb this quote from text 19. I am immortality and I'm also death personified. The commentary explains that the exact same divine force that sustains us and prolongs our life is the very force that meets us at the end as death. It's the beginning, the middle, and the absolute end. All of it.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it totally flips our basic perception of reality. We usually think, right, spirit and matter, totally opposite things. But this philosophy posits that by analyzing these different energies, you realize there's actually no distinction between matter and spirit for the Supreme. In an advanced stage of realization, that binary completely collapses. A fully realized person doesn't make those distinctions anymore. They simply see this ultimate energy in absolutely everything.
All right, let's jump to Section 3, the true purpose of the Vedas, examining text 20.
Here we get introduced to the Trivedi. This is a highly respected Brahmana who has rigorously studied the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Rig. Now, anyone attached to this profound level of knowledge is obviously given a ton of respect in society, and it's a big but. The text points out a major caveat. A lot of these great official scholars of the Vedas actually miss the ultimate purport of their studies. They get so caught up in the rituals and the knowledge itself that they completely miss the ultimate goal that the knowledge is pointing to.
The commentary uses this fantastic analogy to explain the difference in approach here. It's the staircase versus the elevator. A lot of scholars get interested in offering sacrifices to different demigods just to reach higher planets. That's the staircase. It's slow, it's step by step, and you're only approaching the energies indirectly. The advice? Just take the elevator. Directly approach the ultimate goal, the supreme shelter, and save yourself so much time and energy.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into the Ferris wheel of rebirth, checking out the cycle in text 21.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens if you choose that indirect staircase approach, seeking heavenly planets instead of the ultimate source. You fall into this distinct cycle.
Step 1, strict study and sacrifice. Step 2, you get elevated to the higher heavenly planetary systems. Step 3, you're up there enjoying vast godly delights and incredibly long lives. But then, inevitably, comes Step 4, your pious credits completely exhaust. You basically run out of good karma tokens. And Step 5, you are unceremoniously sent right back down to this mortal earth.
The text gives us this vivid, kind of frustrating analogy for this reality, a Ferris wheel. If you fail to understand the ultimate cause of all causes, you just end up baffled. You get promoted to higher planets for immense enjoyment, but the second your ticket expires, you come crashing back down. You're just revolving in this endless cycle of birth and death on higher and lower planetary systems, going up, coming down, but never ever actually getting off the ride.
Which brings us to our fifth and final section, reaching the ultimate goal, breaking the cycle. So, how do we actually get off this Ferris wheel? What's the ultimate solution presented here for escaping this endless routine of temporary enjoyment? Well, the answer lies in aiming higher than those temporary heavenly planets. The ultimate goal is elevation to the spiritual world. It's described as an eternal life full of bliss and knowledge. And the absolute best part? The defining characteristic is that once you reach it, there is no longer any possibility of coming down. You never have to return to the miserable, temporary nature of material existence. That is the true final destination of the elevator.
So the crucial takeaway from texts 17 through 21 really comes down to a choice about our own spiritual trajectory. This material world offers some temporary highs, sure, but the lows are totally inevitable, all driven by this profound but transient divine energy. So we're left with this massive, provocative thought to ponder. Will you be satisfied staying on the Ferris wheel of temporary achievements, or will you seek the ultimate goal? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.